We're going to take some time to look into WebFOCUS being an enterprise BI platform and what that really means to talk about enterprise BI. So there's many different type of reporting and BI tools on the market. Many of them focus on certain areas, but WebFOCUS is going to provide you with a way wider capability to cover more typical and even untypical BI use cases. So let's start with my little asset management portal in here. Asset management usually is a very specific scenario for reporting because there are so many different requirements in this area. Things like, hey, I need to have some high-level dashboarding, reporting capabilities, but also the amount and the type of users I'm usually trying to serve with my reporting capabilities. So whenever we talk about internal reporting, it's mainly focusing around a bunch of users in many departments potentially. We even have customers with hundreds and thousands of internal users. But very often the need is to also serve people outside your organization, being it your sales team, your external sales agent team, your partners, your customers, getting them access to information. And very often this information is somehow standardized. So currently we're on the WebFOCUS. We're on our portal homepage here. I've got my information. It's my Fintoso Finance with Data. So I can look into my data. I got some analysis in here. I got my fund details. So I got some very specific charts types, visualization. Many BI tools struggling with building more tabular-oriented reports, but Focus is very strong in not just building charts and visual representation of your data. It also gets the capability to build, good old tables, which is very often way more convenient to get to the meaning of your very detailed data level. Because looking at the table, we're going to easily find there's a few outliers, a few negatives, a few funds we might want to look into a little deeper later on. But again, very easy way to analyze your data, filter what I'm interested, get my very specific chart types like my waterfalls and very complex type of combined chart types that are not just the basic charts or tables that you usually see. But looking into fund reporting, that's sometimes way more. Very often fund reporting and asset management reporting is still heavily relying on PDF documents. We have customers that use WebFOCUS to build hundreds and thousands of statements, e-statement type of reports that are used for certain type of scenarios. So let's go to my fund document section in here. So looking at that elements, that's an easy way for me, an easy element, an easy area where I can start to work with my documents. So starting in here, it's a very simple selection in here. I can select my fund number, and I'm going to run that report. So WebFOCUS is able to create documents on the fly. So that's not a canned pre-built document. It's something that was created on the fly. So if I select another fund in here, I got my fund, I got my information, I can select that one, I got that information, and I got a detailed list of information on those fund data in a very simple, in this case, PDF documents. We're going to look into some more complex documents a little bit later, but easy to create. But very often it's not that standard because depending on the fund, depending on your information, you might want to get more flexibility into your report. So if I move to my dynamic fund document, which is the second page in my tab, in my portal in here, I can now in here select elements and work with those elements. So again, I got the same information. I can select my fund number. I got the same report now, but actually I don't want that logo in here because I'm not only creating reports for TIBCO IBI, I'm also have to create documents for my partners with their own branding. So in here, I can flexibly select things. So we're going to pick Fintoso Financial because that's going to be our own report. And then we're going to take a different type of background. So we're going to take the marketing background. So let's submit my report, and that report is created on the fly, but a lot of the things here in that report are really built on a variable basis. So I've got a different cover page, I've got different logos on those pages. It's still the same report at the end, but I can do more in here. So if I open up that little filter section in here, actually on the second thing, we have a bar chart now. I don't like bar charts, so I want to go for a pie chart. In here, I don't like that measure, so I want to get a different measure in here. I don't like the dimension in here, so let's change the dimension. And actually that page 2 is kind of boring, so I might want to skip page 2 in my report. And yeah, let's go for another logo. So we're going to go for the IB logo in here, and yeah, let's do one more change. So let's change the background to be blue and submit my report again. It's still the same report, but based on all those selection, I can get to a very, very dynamic type of report. So we got my blue cover page. We got the IB logo on the second page. I changed it. I changed the chart type. I changed the measure. I changed the dimension in here. And I got rid of my second page in that report. So very high flexibility to really build whatever you want to build in here. So very easy and convenient to build very complex reports. We have customers using this type of capability very heavily to build highly complex reports, very highly complex documents in large volume to be distributed, not just online, but also via email and other type of delivery formats. Looking at that capability, there's way more. That's a relatively simple document in here. It's a PDF document, it's a few pages, but I built similar type of scenarios or similar type of reporting applications with more and more complex type of reports. So not just having that relatively basic PDF document, that's another document that's generated on the fly right now. So I can select my investee in here to select my value. Currently, I'm running through all my data in here, creating my document. As I mentioned before, it's generated on the fly. Let me resize that a little bit. And I got my document in here, which is in that case a slightly more complex document with a bunch of pages, headers, footers, complex charts in here, the complex table at the end. So I've got some complexity in my reports in here that can be used for my reports. So even some more detailed information on the follow-up pages to really build a relatively complex document type that can be used and distributed to my users. Of course, you could also schedule those reports. So let's move on a little bit. So let's go to my PowerPoint, because it's not just PDF that can be created that way. So the report that we saw a few seconds ago is now created again on the fly, but now as a PowerPoint document in a very nice formatted way. So it's going to be easy really to use. So it's created, available to use, ready there, ready to go for. So like the report we created before in PDF, we now have the same element in PowerPoint. It's slightly different arrangement because the first one was a portrait format. Now we're back to landscape. We got the same information, the same document, easily format professional document that can be used wherever you want to use optimized print-ready reporting. Again, can be created on the fly, but also created dynamically and distributed via email. Back to my document, so let me close that one. Of course, you just can also create a more complex document types in Excel format, or you could create documents in an interactive offline format. So that document, again, is generated on the fly, can be used in here, but it doesn't need to be created on the fly. So besides creating elements on the fly, you could also use elements and documents and open them from the local hard drive, receive those documents via email. We're creating documents in that interactive format that can be used with connection to a server. So now I open up that element on my drive. So it's on the local element. It's sent via email. So no need to get online access. But that document is still available in an interactive format. So we can do easily things like just sorting elements to make it easier to find something or filter on elements. But we can also go to a more detailed view of my report. So if I move to the mutual fund research, I can enlarge it a little bit in here, and I can now create my own custom reports based on that data. So that's a patented technology that allows us to build complex reports that are still interactive and can be used on any device without any installation need on that specific device. Again, as I mentioned, I could use it to sort my elements. I can click on those elements to filter, to select, to reduce the amount of data. But I can even go in there and go to the new capability in that corner in here and create my own custom reports. So I can now add the fund category to my report as a dimension. I want to go for some more information, so I might want to go for the performance over 3 years. Put that one on the vertical axis. Again, in here, it might not be useful to sum that performance up, so I might want to average on that performance, and I might want to change the direction of the element. I like that report, so it's a pretty nice one, pretty helpful to visualize my data. So let's keep it for now. And having that report now, actually, I have one measure in here, 3 years performance. So let's add one more. So in here, I can now, of course, edit that one or create new ones whenever I want to. So let me create a new one. So we're now going to take the 10-year performance, put it on the vertical axis. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go for the fund category and put the fund category on the horizontal axis to get another performance overview in here. So let's again toggle it and change the order in here. Keep that one as well. So that's a nice indication in here now to compare elements. Actually, I'm not interested in all the elements. So we got something like the fund category in here, but we might want to filter on the fund type as well. So let's go to the fund type and only go to the balanced here and select only them. And again, you see the elements are respecting that filter. So let's remove the filter again. We're back to all the elements in those elements, all the elements in those charts. So again, I can easily filter. So for example, filter on a certain level of elements only, or just filter on the chart types itself to get to a more detailed view. In case I like what I see in here, I can easily pick those elements in here and export those elements into an Excel, into an image to be reused outside of my little application in here. Again, totally offline, easy to use, easy to work with, easy to manage. So a different type of output formats. I even have customers that do a lot more with reports besides what we saw. There's a little sample of something I created for our customers as well that I see customers using, which is a little workflow on document creation. So remember our font documents that we worked with. So we had all our font documents in here. So if you remember my font document in here, there's a bunch of information in those reports. But actually, before they're sent out, I want to be able to write back information like comments to that data. So I can select my report. Again, I'm going to get a preview of my report. So it's creating me a little preview of the PDF document. So there's my document, and there's some space for commenting on that screen. And actually, I want to add some comments in here on my own. So, okay, for that report, which is the 19 at the end. So let's go for the 23, the first one. And I want to add a comment for that one. So this data is quality approved by me. Let's add that comment, submit the comment. So it's in the system at a certain time by a certain user. And having that report created now, it includes my comment in here. Let's add one more. So that's the crane one. So change the command a little bit, changed, updated. So an easy way to build those type of reporting applications that create complex documents based on additional information. So let's close that one. So first step, I'm commenting my reports. In case I like them, I can now decide to approve those reports. So currently what we looked into, that's my report 23, the one we just commented. I like that one. It's perfect. And I want to approve that report for publishing. So it's now approved by myself. Let me pick one more. So let's pick the 12 here. So let's submit that one and approve that one as well. So that one is approved now as well. I should have looked at it. Yeah, I like it. I could, of course, change the approval to no again, but I like it the way it is. So let's keep it away. So now that I created approvals and comments for some of those reports, I can now create documents in the system, which means I can tell the system I want to do a bulk creation of all my documents, and I only want to create the approved ones. So let's go for a maximum of 1,000 now and submit that job to the system. So now I'm building a staged version of all my documents. So it's running, and it's not just creating one document, it's creating all the documents that are set and flagged for approval and available in the system. So I got 4 of them. So 2 that I approved today, and of course 2 that were approved earlier. So, okay, I can now open them up, click them here. But again, those documents are not created on the fly anymore. Creating or hitting that create button created those documents and potentially sent them out via email to my consumers that want to get to that information. So there we are. Those are the data. So you can see my report. There's the data. That's the great one that we created on the fly dynamically based on that little workflow process in here. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. Of course, you can create your own reports in here, create your own information, extend the current information that's available in the system. So whenever I want to create some additional content, easy to do. But I can also do some more advanced write-back capability. WebFOCUS is not only about reading data, you could also use it to write. We already wrote that comment as information into a database because that's how they go into that report. But I also, looking back on the homepage, I had that news section on the left-hand side. So there's some information, and actually I need a new information in here, and actually it's nothing else than a database. So let's go back to my admin section, and in here I can now create my news. So those are the 2 news sections that we saw on the homepage. I can delete them if I want to, or I can create a new news section in here. So that's thank you for attending. Message is, if you want to know more, please contact me. And let's add a link. Submit that one. It's in the system now, created today. And if I move back to my homepage, I got my news in the system. So that's what we're talking about, a enterprise BI and reporting platform. It's not just about building simple dashboards. Of course, you can build nice looking, simple dashboards, but you could do way more using a full-blown enterprise BI platform with the full capability that is available, and yeah, just use it to a wider extent. Okay, if there's any question, anything you want to know, feel free to contact me. You're going to find the contact details in the channel. So if you like the video, like and subscribe, take a look at all the other videos provided in the channel.